obviously I have a bias, but I trust you more than anybody.
I said in the letter, I don't know how pictures you got. You should have a generation of people and you.
Oh yeah. You know what? Actually, you know what's another thing about us is so my oldest of the three, we had a as like 13 years old, the presence of a 34-year-old person. I'm trying to see back when I might be able to get her out here a couple times to help you. You will not, you won't, maybe you won't do it. She actually, I think, may have the best voice out of all of us.
But you've got to
But
get a
with,
generation.
it's great. There's another thing I have to do too. At one point, you took a picture of me sitting inside the Ark. I have to recreate that same thing with Evan. You know, that's it.
Here with your new membership.
By the way,
Your friends joining right here.
So sweet. This makes me very happy. That row right there makes me very happy. Hello. Nice to see you. Good. All right. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. So it's still, I don't know about for everybody else, but it's still surreal. The whole thing is still surreal to me. On the one hand, right, I walk in the door and it feels totally normal. On the other hand, I almost went to the church tonight just because of muscle memory. And I was like, it took me a second. I was like, I know which street to go down, but just that little bit of extra, it really. So I'll begin certainly with my gratitude for last week, but really my gratitude is tonight. Because tonight, in addition to celebrating Shabbat, we're celebrating some of my absolute favorite people. Our graduating senior class, plus one, graduated 1 year ahead, but I count you in this space, Julian, is really, in effect, in my mind, is really sort of my first class of students when I got here. So 9 years in, give or take, means that I've watched many of them grow up from being, adorably cute, and occasionally, just not to embarrass, but pictures showing up on my phone or on my wife's phone of when you guys were like little, and I haven't like posted them because I don't want to. But it every time it brings really tears to my eyes because look, a rabbi has many roles, many jobs, many different aspects of the profession, but its principal role is to be a teacher. So a teacher is only really in existence because of students, right? Students are everything, and in our tradition, truly, it's everything. We would not be here without all of you. And the impact that you've had on me as your rabbi, as your teacher, and I know I speak for everybody who's had the privilege of teaching all of you guys over the years and watching you grow, has been, as I said, the absolute apex of, if I've done anything at all as a rabbi, I put my time with you guys at the very top. And tonight is not a goodbye, okay? It doesn't work that way. You're not going to the moon, or well, at least I don't think. But we're not going to see you as frequently, and we wanted to make sure that before you all each go to your amazing next steps, that you are blessed by this community, by myself, by your teachers, and to remember that basically, no matter how far away you are in terms of geography, your heart is always here. And I love you guys. I'm going to cry. I'll save that for a little bit later on. The other thing, just as I mentioned to a few as you're walking in, my beloved children gave me a wonderful gift of a cold, a very bad one at that. So if I sound a little bit off tonight, you'll forgive me. But, I literally would have had been unconscious to not be here tonight to celebrate all of you and to be here again for our second Shabbat. David, good Shabbos. This I also miss, right? Is this like just being able to see everybody walking in? It's just gift upon gift. So I'm going to invite everyone to open their Sidurim, their prayer books. If you don't have one in front of you, just raise a hand. We'll make sure we get somebody over to you. And I'm going to invite up the parents of our graduating seniors. We'll call you that. We're going to help light and bless our Shabbat candles. So all you guys come up. Don't be silent. And if Jill's not here, all right, Andrew, you want to come up? Just comment on, so she'll be here in a little bit. Don't worry, this isn't the last thing that involves you. All right, so you guys come on up. I know we haven't quite gotten our candle situation quite where we need it to be yet, but torch works. I'm going to step back just a little. And does one of you have a prayer book? It's on page 120. Here's the one thing. If one of you can... All right, Ari Weller, I'm just, because you're, Ari, since you're right in front of me, I'm just going to give you hold this to whoever is saying whatever they're saying. And somebody want to be our lighter? Anybody? You know what? Okay.
I'll hold it for you.
But light for whoever's lighting candles first, and then we'll do our blessing. And the blessing is on page 120. Thank you, Laura. Hopefully it works. If it doesn't, let me
What
know.
am I saying?
Yes.
I know.
Now, the real question, I realize, is we have this excellent air conditioning unit now. Will they survive? Shelly, can you do me a favor? We might need to grab the candles and move them out of the range of the vent, because I'm not sure they're going to stay. They're very determined candles, but I don't think they have that kind of determination. 100%. I'll tell you what. Whoa.
Thank you. It's also because there's a
Yeah,
vent on it.
that's...
And everything. And the wax strip
Okay.
on the new beam.
Wax comes off. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, ready, guys? Whenever you're ready. Or Andrew's going to lead us, I guess.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. You are a beautiful bunch, I will just say that. And you produce beautiful children and grandchildren. So you can all relax now. That was not your bar mitzvahs or bar mitzvahs, no more to do. Okay. So I'll also say, for a couple of songs this evening, because Cantor Kevin is not able to be here, our wonderful friend Julian, who, again, I count amongst this class even though he graduated last year, who's going to help me on the piano for a couple of songs. So, Julian, I'll tell you when we get to those parts. You relax for now. Cool? Cool. Good. All right. We're going to turn to page 130. Page 130, the very top of the page, Lechu Neranena. Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena, Ladonai. Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena, Ladonai. Naria, Naria, Letzori, Shenu, Nekadma, Fanav, Betodaham. Naria, Naria, Letzori, Shenu, Bizmirot, Naria, Lo, Lechuner, Hanena, Lechuner, Hanena, Lechuner, Hanena, Ladonai. Lechuner Hanena, Lechuner Hanena, Lechuner Hanena Ladonai. We're now on page 131, Shiru Ladonai. Shiru Ladonai, Shiru Shir Chadash, Shiru Ladonai, Kol Haaretz, Shiru Ladonai, Baruchu Shemo, Basru Meyom Leyom, Yeshuato, Shiru Ladonai, Baruchu Shemo, Basru Meyom Leyom, Yeshuato, Shiru Ladonai, Shiru Shir Chadash, Shiru Ladonai, Kol Haaretz, Shiru Ladonai, Baruchu Shemo, Basru Meyom Leyom, Yeshuato, Shiru Ladonai, Baruchu Shemo, Basru Meyom Leyom, Yeshuato. We'll turn now to page 132, the last Hebrew paragraph at the bottom of the page. Or zaru ala tzadik, uleishrei lev simcha. Or zaru ala tzadik, uleishrei lev simcha. Tzimechu tzadikim b'Adonai, vehodu lezecher kodsho. Tzimechu tzadikim b'Adonai, vehodu lezecher kodsho. We'll turn now to page 134, Zamru Ladonai, at the very top of the page. Zamru Ladonai Bechinor, Bechinor Vekol Zimra, Bachatzotzrot Vekol Shofar, Ahari Lifnei HaMelech Adonai, Yiram Hayamum Lo'om, Tevel Veyoshvevam, Neharot Yimcha Uchaf Yachad Harim Yiraneinu Lifnei Adonai Kivam Lishbot Haaretz Yishbot Tevel Betzedek Vehamim Mesharim Yiram Hayamum Lo'o, Tevel Veyoshvevam, Neharot Yimcha Uchaf Yachad, Harim Yiraneinu. So I'll invite Julian to join me on the piano as we turn to page 135. And just to say at the outset, Julian and I had about 10 minutes to practice, so if there are any mistakes, it's on my part, not on his. He's an excellent musician. I'm less so. So I think for this one, you're going to play and then I'm going to come in. Romamu? Yes, all right. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu Lehar Kodsho, Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu Lehar Kodsho, ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu, ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Yishtachavu Lehar Kodsho. We're going to turn now to Lechado D on page 138. And we're going to do the first, second, fifth, and ninth paragraphs. And we're going to do our melody that should allow for the dancing. Yeah, I think so. We're going to see. Let's see how it goes. All right. For this one, am I starting? You starting? I'll start it. Okay. Lechado di likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela shamur v'zachur b'dibur echad hishmianu el hamiuchad Adonai echad nu shemo echad shemo tiferet ve'litila lechadodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabelam likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha ki mekor haberacha merosh mikedem nesucha sof maaseh v'machshava tchila lechadodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Fifth paragraph. Itoreri kiva orech kumi uri shir daberi kavod Adonai alayich nigla lechadodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela boi v'shalom ateret ba'ala gam besimcha uvetzala toch emunei am segula boi chala lechadodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela yai lai 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 ai la 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 ai lai 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 ai la 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 ai lai lai ya la 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 ai la 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 ya la 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 lechadodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela yai lai 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 ai la 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 ai lai 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 ai la 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 ai lai lai ya la 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 ai la 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 ya la 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 ai lechadodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. You guys did great. Huh? 3? Yeah, well, 3 years. We should have seen it last week, Ron. Was all, probably would have gone outside and come back around. It's exactly right. It's amazing, Ron. It's amazing. Okay. It's good. I'm glad to see that we haven't lost our ruach, which is nice. All right, Julian, you can chill out for a bit now. I think you can relax. But, round of applause for Julian. That was really great. Yeah, very nice. Appreciate it. Yeah, well, don't think we aren't already working on that, Very good. I told him when Kevin is back, somebody who speaks music, the two of them can really talk, but, stuck with the rabbi for the moment. All right, so we're going to turn now to page 140, Tzadik Katamar, which is in Hebrew just in the middle of the page. Tzadik Katamar Yifrach Keres Balvanon Yizkeshetulim Bevet Adonai Bechatzrot Eloheinu Yafrichu Od Yenuvun Beseva Deshenim Merahananim Yashar Adonai Tzuri Velo Havlatabo. Turn to the Chatzi Kaddish on page 144. Yitkadal veyitkadash shemei Rabba Be'alma divrach yirtei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael Ba'galaha uvizman kariv v'himeru Amen. Yeheshmei Rabba mevarach Le'alam li'almei halmaya yitbarach Yitbarach v'yishtabach B'dvar b'tramam v'yitnaseh V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shemei dekudsha brichu Leila min kol birchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata Tamihiran behalma Veimeru. Amen. We rise for the Baruch Hu on page 146. Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamevorach. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Vaed. Please be seated. We're going to turn to page 149. We'll read together in English at the bottom of the page. This is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Umavir yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uvein lahaila, Adonai tzvaot shemo. El chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed baruch atah Adonai hamahari v'arabim. We'll turn now to page 151, and we'll read together at the very top of the page. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Ki ehem chayenu ve'orech yamenu v'hem nege yomam v'layla v'avatcha al tasir mimenu li'olamim baruch atah Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Please join me on page 154. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם להיות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem Emet. Please join with me on top of page 157. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. As we turn to page 158. Yabai bye bim 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 bam, yabai bye bim bam, yabai bye bim 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 bam, yabai bye bim bam, yai bye ba 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 ba, yabai bye bim bam, yai bye ba 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 ba, yabai bye bim bam. Mi chamocha bailim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Nor hati loto sefele, nor hati loto sefele. Yabai bye bim 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 bam, yabai bye bim bam, yabai bye bim 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 bam, yabai bye bim bam, yai bye ba 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 ba, yabai bye bim bam, yai bye ba 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 ba, yabai bye bim bam. Malchutecha ra'u vanecha, bokeam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, zeli anu ve'amru, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, v'nehemar kifad Adonai et Yaakov, ugolo miad chazak mimenu, baruch ata Adonai, gal Yisrael. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up, waiting to do your will. Hashkivenu is on the top of page 160. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom ve'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom ve'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Ushmor tzeiteinu, uvoeinu, lechaim ushalom, me'ata ve'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom, ve'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Yerushalayim. We turn now to page 162, Veshamru at the very top of the page. Veshamru b'nei Israel et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. עין עיני ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת, שבת וינפש. I invite us to rise in body or in spirit as we begin the Amidah together on page 164. From that point on, we'll continue silently as always. If at the end you're still standing, you may be seated. שפתי תפתחו פי תהילתך. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Ose shalom bimromav, uyase shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Yase shalom, yase shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. I'm never really sure if we're the only ones that do the clapping at Oseh Shalom or not, but I like to think that we are. But it's always a bit of a surprise if you're not expecting it, so that's always one of those things. We're going to turn now to page 371 to offer our Misha Berach, our healing prayer for this evening. Before I read our Misha Berach list, we'll also extend our hearts to our family, both literal and figurative, in Israel. Right now, it's really quite a challenging situation, and unfortunately not looking like it's going to come to a quick conclusion, and there are people both, again, hurt in terms of the body, but also hurt in terms of just the prolonged nature of a conflict that has gone on for this long. So we pray not just for healing in the literal sense, but we pray for healing in the broader sense, that this part of the world that means so much to all of us will find this deeper healing that it desperately needs, so that we don't have to keep standing up here and praying for the healing of the body. So in our community tonight, we are thinking of Bensi Tepper, Allison Luckman, Malka Bat Chaya Sura, Michael Klinghofer, Ame and Warren Cass, Rivka Bat Rachel, Leah Bat Naomi, Gedalia Ben Sylvia, Lorraine Danis, David Dowling, Sibia Devora Bat Francis, Muriel Hirsch, Michelle Sawicki, Francis Kirschman, Shelley Newmark, Diane Axelrod, Gabriella Rose Spicer, Barbara Kushner, David Kyle Klopman, Lorraine Davis, Devora Batsima, Rebecca Snyder, Jeffrey Miller, Shelley Lyman, Deborah Block-Kroll, Sylvia Orn, Karen Layton, Debbie Bookvar, Carol Javna, Lori Nisanoff, Rebecca Rubin, Deborah and John Fogarty, Kate Kessler, Hilda Mintz, John Mahoney, Kim Birnbaum, Moshe Ben Yosef, Moshe Jakovowitz, Ann Baker, David Ben Barzilai, Dr. Samuel Moskowitz, Alan Weinstein, Tikva Bat Abraham, Andrea Klausner, and Jake Curie. In addition to the names that I just read, if there's anyone with us tonight, you want to add additional names, we'll start on this side of the room and work towards the rear, and then this side of the room and towards the rear. And if you are sharing names, just to raise a hand. Thank you, Linda. I appreciate that very much. Thank you. Of course, invite those watching at home to add names as well. We'll join together in the Misha Berach in the middle of page 371. Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishe Berach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. So, as I'm sure some of you know, most of you know, maybe not everybody, this Shabbat we are continuing a tradition that we've had, I think now, Shelley, how many years? Since when we were still in the building here, to say the least. It's been a while, in which we celebrate our graduating group of seniors, who we are saying a sort of, that's why I always like the Hebrew version, right? We don't say goodbye, we say lehitraot. Lehitraot, because of its grammar, implies that you'll see the person again. It's not a goodbye in that sense. But as you can imagine, all right, I was already kind of breaking down at the beginning of the service. I'm going to try to hold it together right now. But for those that came in a little bit later and didn't hear me say, I'll repeat again. Every student that I've ever had the privilege of working with is a treasure to me. It's a true treasure, a gift. Not just because of what I ultimately get out of it, which is I learn a tremendous amount from my students, but I realize, for a parent, for a grandparent, for a guardian, for somebody who looks at their children as the most important possession they have, to trust them with another person of any sort is a big ask. And to trust them, trust a person like myself to be involved in their religious education, their upbringing, and to add to the values and to the ethics that are taught at home is itself both, again, an incredible privilege and also an incredible responsibility. And at this point, in a matter of weeks, it'll be 9 years that I've been the rabbi here, 9 years that I've been a rabbi. I know, that makes everybody feel old, doesn't it? Yeah, I appreciate that. I promise I wasn't, David, thank you. I wasn't fishing for applause. I appreciate it. But it's, of course, caused me to be reflective. And as I said at the beginning, every group of students that I've worked with really is beloved to me. But this group really stands out in a lot of ways because, to say it lightly, I was really still feeling my way out at the beginning. They were very generous to me and very accommodating to me in the places where I was still learning to be a rabbi, still learning to be a teacher. They may not have even realized that's what they were doing, but that's who they are. This group of seniors is really each individually remarkable. Each one of them actually deserves an hour of talking about how special they are, how unique they are, what they have given to this congregation, what they will give to the world. I wish that I had those hours to give tonight, so I'm going to speak more generally, but no, each and every one of you, okay, you are the most important, the most beloved, really the most treasured of all of us here for what you have become and who you are going to be as you move out into the world. One of the unique sort of aspects, I think, of the last few years is it's caused all of us to really think about what really is most important. What happens when the things we take for granted are stripped away? What remains? And what remains is a spirit. What remains is a depth of character. What remains is a sense, again, of community in the biggest C, capital C version of that word. Many synagogues, many rabbis, many Hebrew schools have their own set of criteria, their own curriculum, their own goals in mind when they sit down to teach each student. Shelley and I have worked together now for a number of years, and Leah before. We shared a similar vision and a certain pragmatism. We knew we weren't going to have our students 7 days a week. We weren't going to have them 5 days a week. We weren't going to have them for 40 hours a week. Sometimes we were lucky if we got maybe a dedicated half an hour in a given week. It wasn't about how much time we had, but we had to realize that we weren't necessarily going to be able to introduce the depth and breadth of the Talmud to each of our students. We weren't going to necessarily make them conversant in modern Hebrew, although we certainly have given them the skills to read it. We may not have been able to teach them every aspect of the Torah, but what we focused on really was trying to learn first and foremost, who are these wonderful young people? Before we even begin to think about where the Torah fits in, where the Talmud fits in, where our ritual fits in, we first need to understand who these children are and who these now, not children, right, who these adults are who are sitting in front of us tonight, sitting in front of me. That process of learning, that process of hearing and listening taught me a very important lesson very early on, which is whatever assumptions we have about 10, 9, 11, 12, 13-year-olds are wrong. They're just functionally wrong. We make assumptions about what they are capable of understanding, what they're capable of teaching, what their relationships are meant to be in a given age. All of those things may be true in the abstract, but when you're really sitting down in front of one of these people, right, when you're really sitting down and you're listening to them, they are extremely aware. They are extremely thoughtful. They have opinions, and they have plans. They have goals, and they know that they play a role, not just in their own universe, in their own orbit, but in the world out there. I've seen it, I've observed it, I've heard it, and I've lived it with each and every one of you guys. Each and every one of you has shown that time and time again. It's important that you understand that when you go out into this world, right, you're going to have an interesting experience. You're now at this point in which you are the oldest, in which everybody is looking to you, and then you go to college, and suddenly you're the youngest again. Right? Suddenly you're feeling lost. Suddenly you're looking around, you don't know where your classes are, you don't know who your friends are going to be, you miss your family, maybe you miss your rabbi, I don't know. I'm easy to find, you all have my number. But, right, you're going to be having a number of these sort of swirling emotions. The question is what one does in that kind of environment. And for many kids, it actually is crippling to them. They spin so much and they don't have anything that anchors them, and they literally just spin out. And it's not to say that there isn't a next stage, they don't come back, but for you guys, whatever challenges may occur, whatever things may push you to feel uncomfortable or push you out of your comfort zone, remember what you learned here, and remember what you taught here. Remember what it means to be actually part of a community. Community isn't just defined by walls, it's not defined by what village or town, it's defined by hearts connected. Each and every one of you has connected to each other, to me, to Shelley, and to anybody who had the privilege, frankly, of getting to know you in your time while you were in our Hebrew school and in our post-B'nai Mitzvah classes in our teen group. Don't forget that just because you may be the youngest in the crowd you're going into, don't lose the voice of leadership that you possess today. Don't abdicate the position of leading, again, not just yourselves into a bright future, but to your friends, to your classmates, and even, I would say, to your teachers. College can sometimes present professors who are a little into their own mind, a little hesitant to take on a challenge from their students. Don't be quiet. Don't sit in the back row. Don't hold back what you have to say. It may be scary. It may even feel like you're going beyond yourselves. But you must understand that it is the fundamental goal of the Jewish people to be involved, to be engaged, and to never let go of the one idea that each of you, again, is a gift to this world, but only a gift if you give of it, if you give of yourself, if you are vulnerable, if you share, if you try new things, if you push yourself, and at the same time, to remember that anchor, remember that core, remember that community that holds you in place. So that even if you feel, again, that you're far off somewhere, you're never really that far off. You're never a phone call away, more than a phone call away. You're never more than a plane ride, although in David Andrews' case, probably a couple plane rides to get back. Right? This place, me, your teachers, your community, will always be here. Will always be a part of your lives. Good, bad, everything in between. I want to share a teaching, one that actually was shared with me by my father, which was shared really ultimately from his teacher, Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel. He writes the following in his commentary or his book called Who is Man? And let's extend this out, right? Who is the human being? So he writes as follows. He says that the authentic individual is neither an end nor a beginning, but a link between ages, both memory and expectation. Every moment is a new beginning within a continuum of history. It is fallacious, and I'm going to assume since you all passed the SATs, you know what that word means, right? But it's incorrect to segregate a moment and not to sense its involvement in both past and future. Humbly, the past defers to the future, but it refuses to be discarded. Only one who is an heir is qualified to be a pioneer. So what does this mean, beyond Heschel's eloquence? It means a number of things. The first is to understand, as I said, each of you is a part of the history of this community. Each and every one of you helped to build this synagogue. Even though it may have existed for 100 years before you even came into this world, you are all a part of its history. But you are equally important as a part of its future. Not just our temple here, not just our beautiful building that we are sitting in, not just in my life, although I treasure it, but in the entire trajectory of the Jewish people and really the entire trajectory of humanity. Everything that you do has a spark of holiness in it. But you can only see that spark if you open your eyes and realize that you are part of this continuum, this thing we call in Hebrew the Shalshelet Kabbalah, the thing that traces us all the way back to our very beginnings and goes on into a future we can't yet picture. But you must understand, if even one of the links in that chain is broken, the whole thing ceases to exist. It's not to put ultimate pressure on you. I'm not expecting you guys to fix all of the world's problems all at once. But remember that your life up until this point matters a great deal. One of the things that happens or can happen in college is you go away and you think, I have to reinvent myself. I have to be somebody different so that people will like me and I'll get invited to the party or I'll be in the right class or whatever it is. Nothing could be further from the truth. Nothing could be, quite frankly, more fallacious. Your past, individually and collectively, is a part of who you are. And it's also a part of your future. In the end, to be a pioneer, to go out into the world and to do new things, to expand yourselves, means also to be an heir to the things that you have inherited, both what you have learned here in the temple and what you have learned from the people sitting next to you, right? These wonderful family members that you all have. Not everybody's necessarily sitting with you right now, but everybody who's been with you along the way. Every one of us is cheering you on. Every one of us is going to support you as best as we can from here, and every one of us feels blessed for having had the time that we had with you. In the end, I'm sorry that we couldn't get this done while you guys were still little, but in some ways, I'm actually kind of glad that that's the case. Because in my mind, I have a lot of happy memories. A lot of happy memories from the old building. Some of the happiest of them was watching you little guys tear the place up. Was watching you take ownership over that beat-up couch downstairs in that room with no windows, right? Every one of you had every excuse to run the other way, and you did the opposite. right? You built friendships, you built connections with each other, and you loved this place deeply. So know that love goes in both directions. And while we may not have had the youth lounge that we promised you ready to go, something tells me Shelly's going to get that fixed in a few years. So just because you won't be youth anymore doesn't mean you can't come and hang out with us when you do come back home. So to close, in closing, I love you guys. I love you all. And I appreciate everything that you have given to me personally. It's this thing, right? Or this, it's that. What's the thing where you do like this? This thing. Yeah, Julian's trying to show me. So the one thing about the camera, people can't see. But just know, again, what a privilege it is to be a rabbi in the present tense. It was to be a rabbi in your earlier years, and it will be to be a rabbi in the future. And truly, on behalf of our entire congregation, we wish you guys nothing but goodness and blessing and all the things to come in the future. So I want to now, if I can, I want to invite all of our graduating seniors. Julie, you want to come up too? You're sort of the plus one in this, and your families. Because I'm, again, for those that didn't hear, I am not feeling great. I'm going to step off to the side a little bit. Shelly, it's over here, actually. So I just need two of the taller. Okay, so David Andrews certainly gets one of them. We have that, see that tallis right over there? It was sitting right up there. Come on up. I know this may answer one of our questions about having steps. Don't worry, just come on up. There's plenty. You guys remember it from your bar and bat mitzvahs. It hasn't changed that much. Thank you, Toby. Always a leader. I appreciate that very much. Okay, so you guys come up, parents come up, and what we're going to do, which you may remember from years ago, is we're going to hold a tallis over your head, and I'm going to give you guys a blessing. But we need some parents maybe to help with the tallis blessing thing, and you can get closer. I'm the only one that's sick. You guys get close. All right. And it's a big tallis, but it's not a big enough tallis. So we're probably going to use this more thematically. See, this is what you call a good problem when you have so many people that you can't fit them all on the bima. That's a great thing. All right. Gordon? Okay, so there's four corners. This is early math. There's four corners to the tallis. So four of you just take one. And actually, the best thing would be if parents could do that so that the kids, our young people, can get underneath it for blessing. If this doesn't work, we'll just roll with it. All right? But as I often do whenever we give this particular blessing, is we realize that this is an ancient blessing, one of our oldest. It comes from the Torah, it comes from one of the earliest moments in which the priesthood blessed the entire people altogether. But the ancient words themselves really are only animated, only given power by what we are thinking and feeling in moments just like these. So if you know these wonderful young people, I want you to think of what your blessing would be for them. And if you don't know them, I still want you to think about what would your blessing be for these wonderful young people as they go into this next stage of their life. And through this blessing, guys, I hope, again, nothing but goodness, nothing but great things to report back. And in the event that something is a challenge, that's part of life too. But remember, come to us, come to your family, come for help. Okay? Don't wait for things. Just call us. We're always going to be there for you. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and guard you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka. May God's presence shine down upon you and be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. No matter where you may go in life, may you remember that God's presence will follow you and be a source of peace to you and to all who love you. And together we say a resounding Amen. Simen tov u'mazal tov, mazal tov u'simen tov, simen tov u'mazal tov, mazal tov u'simen tov, simen tov u'mazal tov, mazal tov u'simen tov. Yehi lanu, yehi lanu, yehi lanu, u'lecho Yisrael, yehi lanu, yehi lanu. U'lecho Yisrael, yehi lanu, yehi lanu. U'lecho Yisrael, yehi lanu, yehi lanu. U'lecho Yisrael. Mazal tov, guys. If we had candy, we'd throw it at you. All right. I just think it's funny that, Jill, you get extra bonus points for holding that up. That was great, Okay, now do you want to give? Okay, parents can sit down. You got to find some better term than young people. That just feels wrong. They're youths, right? The two youths. So Shelly has a little something for each of you. And Shelly, here, why don't you grab a microphone so you can say a few things. You guys haven't changed at all. Not even a little bit. Okay.
Okay. Mazel tov. I know actually a lot of these kids since they were in kindergarten, so this is really very bittersweet. We're so excited for you to go, but we're really going to miss you a ton. So there are just a couple that I want to say a couple of things about. To Jacob and Jonah, since their bar mitzvah, they've been teaching in Hebrew school, and I mean really teaching. Jacob is a professional bar mitzvah tutor. He really has had quite a few kids go through him, really. Jonah has the patience of a saint. He has had our youngest kids. He's a phenomenal story reader, patient, he chats with them, he draws with them, and really engages them. So thank you to both of you for all of that. So this is your bag. Wait, it has your name, so just look at the side of it. And then to Toby and to Marcus, who have taken the challenge of leading our youth group, and we really appreciate what they've done, and they've kept it going. So we have monthly meetings, and that's been really awesome. So thank you to both of you. I don't know if I'm giving you the right one, but I'll give it to you afterwards. And then to the rest of the crew that have really been here, they've continued. I mean, the first year, Rabbi Dan and I, once a week after the bar mitzvah, they came. We said, we'll try it. And they came. Study with Rabbi Dan? Sure, that's fun. And then once they hit high school, we realized that it was too much of a demand. So once a month, they've done that for 4 years. They've really been here and committed. So thank you. And they term themselves the Jew crew. That's their. So even though Julian is got a year of college under his belt, he's still very much part of this. So when we had a Hanukkah party and he was home, he came and joined us. When I said, could you come and play music? He's just come back from his year. Sure, I'll be there. So truly to all of you, we thank you and wish you lots and lots of luck. And we're only a text away.
Because you touched this, you should probably go wash your hands. All right, so everybody else can come grab their wonderful gifts. And thank you to my wife, Lou, and to Shelly for putting this together on a pretty short timeline, actually. So we hope you like them. If anybody's doesn't fit the way that you want it to fit, you let us know. We'll order you a different size, okay? But enjoy them. It's a most important piece of clothing that any college person will own. It's a hooded sweatshirt. I'll give that, So, very good. All right. Well, guys, you can go relax now. But really, it's like I can still picture you guys up here for your B'nai Mitzvah. And, oh, boy. I'm getting a vision of myself, 20 years from now being that rabbi. It's like just putting this out there. It's a long ways away for all of you. But just remember, if you should find that person that you love and loves you, your rabbi also loves to do weddings. So you just, okay? And then maybe baby names. We'll see what happens, but we'll leave it as is. So we're going to now mark the counting of the Omer, counting of the weeks between Pesach and Shavuot, which is coming up soon. I'll invite us all to rise as we turn to page 570, if I remember correctly, 570. And you can join with me at the very top of the page, again, page 570. Hineni mukhan u'mezuman lekayem mitzvat aseh shel sfirat ha'omer. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat ha'omer. Hayom shiva v'shloshim yom shehem chamisha shavuot u'shnei yamim la'omer. Today marks 37 days, which are 5 weeks and 2 days of the Omer. And we'll remain standing as we turn to page 586, the very bottom of the page, Aleinu L'Shabeach. Aleinu L'Shabeach Ladon HaKol, Latet Gedula Leotzer Breshit, Shelo Asanu Kegoye Ha'aratzot, Velo Samanu Kemishbechot Adama, Shelo Sama Chelkenu Kahem, Vegor Aleinu Kechol Hamonam, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. Page 591. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. Now invite those in mourning, those observing yahrzeit, to please remain standing. Everyone else may be seated at this time. We think first of those who passed in our community in recent months: Morty Schwatzky, Beverly Deshevsky, Sandy Greenwald, Dorothy Klein, Buddy Kossoff, David Lieberman, Norma Polsek, Marvin Schreier, Sandy Slip, Larry Wartor, Rita Weitzman, and Yael Zerdar. We also mark the yahrzeits that occurred during the last week for Irving Cassell, Rose Kopelman, Melvin James Danis, Henry Decker, Bob Fisher, Irene Goldman, Walter Gruenstein, Lorraine Haber, Hyman Heller, Robert Jonas, Elias Kaplan, Irving Kellman, Heather Kotler, Bernard Dove Kriegsman, Howard Mazel, Harry Oliphant, Henry Posner, Irving Rubin, Robert Saltzman, Jesse Siegel, Pearl Soroka, Martha Spitzer, Amy Stevens, Laura Weiss, and Martin Weiss. In addition to the names that we just read, is anyone else saying Kaddish this evening for anyone we did not mention? I'll invite those at home, if they have additional names to share them as well. And I'll invite the mourners to join with me on page 598. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yom echon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, b'agalau v'zman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach la'alam u'li'almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei dekudsha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata da'amiran be'alma v'yimru amen. Yehei shalama Rabbah min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Zichronam livracha, may every one of their memories be for a blessing. Okay, please be seated, everybody. Again, a hearty Shabbat Shalom to all of you, and a Mazal Tov again to all of our graduating seniors and to your families. It really is just a wonderful thing to have you all here tonight in our second official Shabbat. Don't be strangers just because we said goodbye to you tonight. I know you're not really leaving until the end of the summer, so come back and see us, spend some time with us, and really thank you all for just being who you are, truly. A few important announcements. First is, at the top of the list, thanking everybody who was here last week, especially those that helped in volunteering to make sure everything went very smoothly. I don't know if you saw the newspapers, but, we got a little bit of love, which was kind of cool. So both Sag Harbor Express and the East Hampton Star, I think both of them have really lovely articles. And thanks to Shelley's hard work, LTV actually also, they're just waiting on interviewing me, I think, this week, and then we'll get a video out of the whole thing, which is also extremely cool. So all of that, again, part of history. If you weren't with us here in person, you were with us in spirit, without a doubt, and it really was just fabulous. And for those that were not here for the next day, our bat mitzvah Chloe in the morning and our bar mitzvah Ben in the afternoon both did wonderful jobs, keeping up very much the standard that has been set by the generations that preceded them. But they really did a wonderful job, and we were just very excited about that. And again, a thank you to Julian, who came in to help this evening. Is going to do one more in just a minute. But Julian, hopefully, will get you back a few more times over the summer. Look forward to that as well. Just a reminder that Shabbat services will be at 9:30 tomorrow morning. You can join me here in person at the temple, or you can join us online. We're working on getting the Zoom back up and running, but we're our offices are still over there. So I won't get into the technicalities of it, but in a couple of weeks, we'll be able to also have Zoom back for anybody who wants to participate that way as well. But our Torah study tomorrow will definitely be on Zoom. That is another thing that we will get back to, having Torah study here, which will be hybrid, so people can participate from home or here as we used to do. So just give me a couple more weeks to get that up and running, and we'll get back to our normal practice. Also, please note, as I just mentioned, our temple offices will at least temporarily still be at the Old Whalers Church. So if you need us, same phone number still works. But if you need to find Shelly's probably running back and forth between the two places. I mean, if you had one of those things that count steps, I think, Shelly, you'd probably walk from here to Mars. But, still, really, no, amazing, truly amazing. And we thank everybody who borrowed Cedarim, who brought them back. We really appreciate that. We did manage to locate our missing ones, so that's very exciting as well. But we can still use the ones back if you're not using it at home. Really appreciate you bringing it back. This week, Monday, there is no Nina Mitzvah this week, but my Heschel class will be at 12 o'clock, and our last Hebrew school session for the year, right? For the little guys, right. The B'nai Mitzvah still have some work to do, and we have several more of them coming up between now and June, so a lot of exciting things to come. And I think those are all of my notes. Shelly, did I miss anything else? No. Here, make sure you use the mic.
We surprised a lot of you when you walked in, and suddenly there were tables, and what is that about?
Yes, thank you.
So since our high school kids were here, Elena Krotman said, hey, why don't we have a dinner? And that happened yesterday, so we didn't tell you about it, but you are certainly welcome to stay with us if you would like. So thank you to the Krotman family for sponsoring this tonight.
Here. That's another one of my very vivid memories, right? The first time that I met Howard and Elena, and I don't think Jackie was there that first time, but, picturing little Marcus and little Max, you were actually taking practice swings over in the corner, which really actually was a sense of where the future was going. Max is a remarkable baseball player, remarkable guy as well. But just remembering those moments, those little moments again when I met each and every one of you, very, very special for me. Okay, so we're going to invite Julian up, who's going to help us with our closing song before we do Kiddush and Motzi. This one we've used a few times lately, but I think every time it has a different meaning. It's Debbie Friedman's setting of Lech Lecha Lechi Lach, which, if you open up, is on page 645. And I will just tell you at the outset, I as we all know, I do not have Cantor Kevin's voice. I don't have any Cantor's voice for that matter. And at the moment, I'm so congested that it feels like I'm in outer space, so I don't even know if I'm being too loud right now. But I'm going to try to hit the notes as best as I can. But again, any failure is on my part, not on Julian's. He's exceptional. All right, so I think this one you were going to play a little bit, and then I'd come in, right? To a place you do not know. Lechi lach, on your journey I will bless you, and you shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Lechi lach. Lechi lach, and I shall make your name great. Lech lecha, and all shall praise your name. Lechi lach, to the place that I will show you. Lesimchat chayim, lesimchat chayim, lesimchat chayim, lechi lach. Amazing. Yeah, it's amazing. Practice that once. By the way, thank you for saving me and singing along, too. That sounded wonderful. I hope that picked up on the camera. So we're going to invite everyone to rise for Kiddush on page 123. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam mohorei perhi hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabahat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon inchilanu zikaron lemahaseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikrae kodesh Zecher letziat Mitzrayim Yivanu v'acharta Ve'otanu kidashta Mikol ha'amim Ve'shabat kodshecha Ve'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen. Chaim. Okay, I'm going to bless the challah from over here, but it is here, and then somebody can take it over there. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Julian, do me a favor, go eat a bite of the challah. Yeah, very important. You can't say the blessing without doing the thing, so that's very important. Good Shabbos, everybody, and thank you again to Howard and Elena, to the Krotman family for sponsoring our meal tonight. This might set a nice new precedent. I like this. And please come, enjoy yourselves, enjoy each other's company, and a good Shabbos to all of our friends watching at home as well. Okay. Ooh. All right, so you'll send me that email, and then let's do over the phone. We'll do a proof. What they'll do is they'll take that, they'll make a computerized image of what it's supposed to look like before they do anything with it. Yeah, you can just transliterate. Send me in an email what you want it to say, and then I'll put it into here. Okay? It's not anytime soon. Yes, that would be great. So slacks are coming, I think, in the next month or so. They're ordered. Yours is definitely set. We're waiting on, I think, the bigger one is the one that has everybody. That then renders the whole thing. Yeah. Perfect. I have a big pull, so I'm not going to. I'm so excited for you. Thank you very much. Something I'm going to share. Also more people think it's big. That's the problem that I think is I like walk around with you and say, "Oh, I'm here to get it." But it looks like I'm real. Looks like we got some. Oh. There. You are a special person. That's what extra bonus. I'm sorry if my dad was here last week, but he'll be out again. He'll be out again for sure. Great. Thanks so much for that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Bob. Okay, guys, not to interrupt, but did anybody lose a pair of glasses? Is anybody missing a pair of glasses? Anybody? I know the food is delicious, but anybody? Susan? Is anybody missing a pair of glasses? Did anybody drop a pair of glasses? Shelly? Okay, there you go. Bobby saved the day.